What's up, everybody? Malcolm with Gifted Hands Appliance Repair here, coming back at you with another repair video. For those of you who don't know what we do on this channel, we repair appliances, we answer questions, and most importantly, we show you how to do things on your own. So if y'all can smash that like button, smash the subscribe button, smash the share button, drop a comment, leave some feedback, negative or positive. It doesn't really matter because whatever it does, it helps the channel. So without further ado, let's get into it. What's up, YouTube? Malcolm with Gifted Hands Appliance Repair here, coming at you with another video. So today, I had a client call me from a restaurant. I'm pretty good friends with him, and his complaint was that only one side of these machines work. So this is a Margarita machine, slushy machine, pina colada machine, whatever kind of machine you want to use it for. But here is the high side. As you can see, you got your filter dryer with the service tap. This filter dryer feeds evaporator 1 and evaporator 2. You got 2 valves. And you come here to click these buttons here for ice. These solenoids open up. As you can see, it's got one here to the solenoid, one here to this solenoid. Depending on whenever you call for, it'll send 120 volts to this valve or 120 volts to that valve in order for it to start cooling one of these evaporators. So this is my second machine. Doesn't look like there's too much wrong with it. Don't mind all the stuff you see down there. There's just a lot of spilt syrup from using products. But yeah, this takes 404A. This is the low side, so you would hook your low side, your blue side of your gauges up to this, and then you would hook up your hot side, your red side gauges to that. Fill both of these bad boys up with water and allow it to run. Check your pressures after about 30 minutes of it running. And how I diagnosed this valve for this side was I had water in it. I had to modify these things because the client didn't tell me that these were leaking. So when I started filling it up with water, all the water started pouring out on the floor. So these man, they're $500 a piece. It's $1,000. So the customer has already ordered them. We're gonna get them on there, and then we're gonna get this machine up and running. So this will be in a future video. So I just wanted to make a video today on some of the tools that I have as an appliance repair technician. Just please don't mind the mess in my shop. So I just did a bearing job the other day on an LG washer, or an LG washer. Let me first tell you, man, getting the bearings out of the washer is just a job on its own. And since the inner tub of the washer is plastic, the outer shell of the washer is plastic and the inner tub is stainless steel, once you pull out the basket, you have to literally take this, set this on top of the bearing, and then use a rubber mallet to smack the bearing out. And I've done this like 15 times. No matter what kind of tool I've used, I always ended up knocking out the center bearing, and it was hard as hell to get the rest of the bearing, because the bearing comes with the outside and then it comes with the inside. There's a little bitty circular device on the inside, and it has ball bearings in it with lithium grease. So once you use this to knock it out, you're like, oh, I'm home free. But when you try to go compress that bearing in there with this bearing compress tool, it won't go, because the bearing consists of an outer ring and an inner ring. So the inner ring will come out, but man, doing it manually That that bearing will take you at least 2 hours just to knock out one side. And I'm talking about WD-40, rust release spray, any of that stuff. That's how long it'll take. So if you're gonna be removing a bearing, make sure you get a bearing compress kit. Make sure you get what all comes in the bearing compress kit. This PVC and this, and then make sure you get a rubber mounted so you don't break that tub. Another thing, a lot of customers have been asking me how to take the spanner nut off of a washing machine. So this is the proper tool for a lot of Whirlpool, Maytag, Amana, English, Ropers, the dryers that were all kind of made under their label. So once you get the agitator base off, there'll be a nut about this size, and ratchets, wrenches, nothing to work. You take that, stick it on top, and you smack both sides and until it breaks free, and then you can just twist it with your hand. And then you also need somebody to help you pull the tub out. But yeah, that's a little bit about that. So I've got some field piece gauges here. They're all digital, and these read tons of refrigerant. See, I'm on 448 now, but non-stop refrigerant. And the only reason why my high side is high is because I did some service work and I need to hook up my reclaim system so I don't ventilate that stuff in the air. But if you're a sealed system tech, these are some of the best tools to have. This stuff is called thermo trap, and what it does is you spray it on something. You can see how that comes out as a gel. Well, I can take a fire and light that, and it will not ignite because of the thermal guard. So if you're doing some brazing, soldering, whatever, in a tight space for something that can catch on fire, I would use a fire blanket, but I would also spray that, and that's been a lifesaver. Also, this stuff right here is called Big Blue. You can get it at your local refrigeration store. Once you get done soldering all your joints, pump the system full of dry nitrogen. I normally go up to about 350 psi, and then I'll go back and just spray all my joints down. And you'll know if you start seeing a bunch of bubbles form and it almost looks like it's blowing snot bubbles, then you can almost guarantee that you got a leak at that joint and you're gonna have to go back and fix it up. So this is the little pad that I lay on while I'm on the floor, because I'm on the floor a lot. And then I've got my oxygen acetylene torches. I got some aluminum just in case I need to do aluminum repair on a aluminum evaporator. And then of course here I've got some Alcop aluminum copper. So if you're going to be soldering aluminum to copper, it requires low heat, and you want to use these rods. Do not use these silver rods at all. They're only made for copper to copper. Sometimes maybe copper to steel, but there's something else special that you can use for copper to steel. So yeah, there goes my vacuum pump. It's a 3 CFM. A lot of people argue that this 3 CFM could damage the valves on the compressor, but if you've been in this long enough and you know what a vacuum pump is supposed to sound like after it's done pumping your system down, you just don't let it run too long. And then here is my get this out of here, Elitech. I got this from Amazon about 6 years ago, and this thing has worked wonders and miracles. So if you're looking for a cheap refrigerant scale, check them out, because this thing is like accurate to the T. Accurate to the T. And then on the back side of here, it comes with a little bitty device that you can take out and hook onto your gauges or whatever. And so basically, put your can of refrigerant on there. You wait for it to stop rocking. You make sure you bleed all the air out the lines, and then once this is stable, what I normally do is hit power. It'll tell me how much weight's on the unit. You hit 0. This is upside down, so it may not work properly. But you hit 0, and it should go to 0. But it's not going to go to 0 because I've got it laid up against some stuff. But that's basically how that works. So I open up the low side on my gauges. Just this right here. While the high side's still closed, this vacuum line to be cracked because that's where the refrigerant comes in. From there, I'd crack this yellow line right underneath this refrigerant thing. I crack the bottom yellow line until I see refrigerant coming out, and I'll close it off. And then a lot of old techs would tell me to back this off the compressor and then push refrigerant till it comes through. But that definitely breaks the line, the vacuum, and you'll end up with a little bit of moisture in the system. Now it may work, but then compressor failure will happen, you know, years, maybe even 6 months, sometimes sooner than that. But yeah, that's definitely way how you get all the refrigerant out of the system. And then also around here, I've got my little refrigerant box. If I can get this thing out of here. By the way, this is my little bitty cart that I wheel in the houses whenever I do refrigerant repairs. But hey man, don't mind the box. It's a little messy. I've done a few jobs. I'm normally a little bit more organized than this, but for all my guys out there doing, this is a fire blanket, by the way. It's used. I've had a few of them. But by the way, this is your regulator for your nitrogen gauges right there. So what you do, you go pop that on there, you screw it on. Make sure the regulators open up all the way so you don't lose any refrigerant. This is your regulator right here, and mine is closed because I just got done using it. But normally you want this thing to be, opened up like that, and then when you tweak it down, that's when it starts to allow the refrigerant to come in. And then, of course, you got some sandpaper here to sand down the copper to make the connections a lot easier. We got a few lock ring filter dryers in here, nothing too major. I got a UV Whirlpool filterator, refrigerant dye dryer, same thing here as you can see on the package. UV dye dryer. These hook up to my field piece equipment. So once you're checking subheat and supercooled, saturation line, liquid line, temperature, you plug those in and you go and you clamp them. See, they got these little bitty temperature strips in there. You clamp them and then it'll tell you superheat and subcooled here. So that's pretty neat here. Always keep you an extra meter, so that way you can use this for temperature specifically. I've got some parts that hook up there, and I also have some parts that hook in this part, and I can kind of just monitor the temperature from outside. This here is complete silver. This little bitty line right here is complete silver. And this is what you would use on most LG refrigerators. A lot of LG refrigerators, the connection to the condenser and the compressor will be copper to steel. So don't get me wrong, you can still use these, but it requires a lot of practice. And also make sure that you keep a few amount of gloves on you. Got a few extra brazing pieces here just in case my other one fails. Got some brazing tips in here, different applications. If you got a small leak in your refrigerator, check that out. AC leaker freeze. So you use this stuff. It comes with the hose. And as long as you use this and only charge your system up 80% of the way, it will repair and take care of minor leaks. Now, this isn't for something that has no refrigerant in it. Something that has no refrigerant in it, that leak is way too big. Another thing, here is your jig device. This is an LG jig device, and it's used to upgrade the software anytime you replace the compressor on a unit. And of course, you know, this is for cutting capillary tubes. A lot of people have problems when it comes down to cutting those small cap tubes. This is a cap tube cutter. You cut it and it'll leave a hole in the cap tube the same size. Miracle tool comes in handy. These are just for automotive right here. I do automotive AC repair for friends only. I'm not an expert, but it's not too far away from what I normally do, so it's not too bad. Always keep you some copper cutters on hand. I've got at least 15 in here somewhere. Also, when you get this kit, it should come with something like this, and you just screw it on to the end there. Just make sure that the top is off. This top that's on there, just make sure you squeeze this off or turn it off. That's exposed, and then from there, all you would do is take this, screw it on, get to the low side of your compressor while it's running. Get to the low side of your compressor while it's running, and screw that on and push it in. I'd wait for about 5 minutes, and then I would go to the actual name tag on the refrigerator here. Check the charge. All right. Charge is 4.76 ounces. So when using this AC leaker freeze, all you have to do is use this and charge your system 80% full. So do 4.76 ounces times 0.80, and that'll give you the accurate charge. And that has worked out for me, especially for customers that are just trying to get by until they can. You know, there's a few people that want to fix their appliances right away, and you know, they don't want to wait, but that will definitely help out. So a few other things you should have here as an appliance repair technician is you got to keep your bottles of nitrogen. You got to keep all your cans of refrigerant intact. You just never know when you're going to run into a job. Got to keep you compressors from all different kinds of manufacturers. I got Whirlpool, GE, I've got some Samsung, I've got a lot of LG compressors here. And then also, just keep you some parts on deck, man. You know, it doesn't hurt to stock you some parts, because eventually they'll sell. As many appliance calls as we go to every day, all of this stuff is going to sell. So Same difference over here. And excuse the mess. I've been working in here, trying to get everything back together. That's an evaporator from a built-in fridge. Getting the rest of the parts next week. But, you know, you just got to keep you a good amount of parts for repairs. We're locked and loaded over here. You know, a few good tools that you can use to be a good appliance repair technician, sealed system technician. And, you know, just make sure you get out there and give it your all. And as I was saying in the last video, if you don't have any kind of knowledge, either don't go or ask the customer for the model number, look up a few problems, common problem schematics. If they give you an error code, look up the error code and just start looking in that area. I can guarantee you error codes tell it all. They may not point you in the proper direction on where to go, but they definitely will tell you where to look. So if you're getting a ND error on a washer, now common sense will tell you that's no drain. So you get down there, you hear the drain pump, because being a good technician isn't always about pulling out your electrical meter and testing places. It's all about sight, sound, and smell. So if you can hear the drain pump running and it sounds like it's running at full capacity, just check the drain filter. Pull the unit apart, check your hoses, make sure there's no foreign material. I know we all got little kids. I got 5, so their little bitty socks get caught behind the drum, and then the drum starts sounding like it has friction, and it's not turning as fast as it can. It's not spitting out all the water on the clothes. So just a few tools, tips, and tricks that you can use to be a good appliance repairman, you know, and get your company off the ground. Hey, this is Malcolm with Gifted Hands. I would show you my face, but my hair is jacked up today. I'm getting my hair done, so I don't want to be on camera looking like who did it and why. But thank you everybody for tuning in. If y'all can drop a like, comment, subscribe, share, whatever it is, I'll talk back to you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Y'all have a great day.